Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, America is about to America is about to enter a golden age. It is the age of Trump. It is an age of unprecedented peace, prosperity, security, and justice. This is a testimony to the persistence, to the resilience, to the stamina, to the strength, to the stubbornness, and I mean that in a positive sense, of the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln, Donald J. Trump. It is also a testimony to the hard work of the greatest grassroots political operation ever put together in the history of the nation, driven by men like Charlie Kirk and Scott Pressler, and yes, my friend Cliff Maloney. Donald Trump has staged the greatest single political comeback in American history. Yes, it is true that the 1972 victory of Richard Nixon was greater and more sweeping, but Nixon was not just facing a political campaign. Donald Trump faced down a tsunami of lawfare, the illegitimate use of our criminal justice system to damage his candidacy, an endless torrent of lies about January 6th, but he had the grit and the gumption and the courage and the fight to bring his case to the American people, and they didn't buy it. They bought a vision for a stronger, more prosperous America. Donald Trump and his associates were subjected to the greatest single dirty trick in American political history. That is nothing less than an abuse of power in which the full authority of the United States government and the extraordinary capability of our intelligence agencies were used to utilize what they knew was fraudulent evidence, the Steele dossier, and the false claim that the Democrat National Committee had been the subject of an online hack by Russian assets, and that information had been lagged to the Trump campaign. This is a lie the American people saw through. I was a target in this simply because I am a 45-year friend and supporter of the president. But now when we examine these things, because that is an act of treason, we're accused of being for revenge or retribution. No, my friends, what we seek is a rebalance of the scales of justice so this country can return to one standard of justice, not the two-tiered justice system. Only yesterday, I read a shocking House report that proved that Congressman Adam Schiff and Congressman Eric Swallowswell leaked classified documents during the Russian collusion hoax in violation of the law, and I have sent a full copy of this congressional report to Pam Bondi. If it's Schiff, flush it. This election was not just a personal triumph for Donald Trump and the America First agenda. It was the beginning of a mass, great political realignment. It is a realignment where Republican and Democrat, in all honesty, no longer matter. That is not the divide in Washington. The divide is between an entrenched political establishment that until 2016 dominated both parties and outsiders like Donald J. Trump, J.D. Vance, and Robert F. Kennedy. This is a realignment in which those who favor endless war, where our inherent national interests are not clear, who would censor our free speech, not only on the internet, but in all mediums, and who think it is fine for Big Pharma and Big Food to do anything they want as long as profits are fat. While at the same time, common sense Democrats and independents, Democrats like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, who is now a Republican, and Governor Rod Blagojevich, and those who favor common sense, who want peace, who support free speech, and think it is important to find out why Big Pharma and Big Food are poisoning our children. That is the great fight, and that is the source of the great realignment. This is a realignment like we had in 1932, which manifested itself in 1936. Until 1932, a majority of African Americans voted Republican because of the role of the Republican Party and Lincoln in the Great Emancipation. But by 1936, most African Americans were voting for Democrats, and that put the Democrats into a new realignment, which kept them in the White House from 1932 until 1952. Then I would say this is also very much like the realignment of 1968. That is a realignment in which white Southern Democrats and blue-collar ethnic Catholics in the Northeast and the Midwest elected Richard Nixon, although in a three-way race, but eventually a realignment that manifests itself in the election of one of our greatest presidents, Ronald Reagan. Now, liberals and academics have sought to denigrate the presidency of Ronald Reagan, but he was among our greatest presidents. He returned us to the policy of peace through strength. That is the same policy as one of our greatest presidents, Dwight Eisenhower. This is the policy adopted by Donald Trump. We had peace in the world. We had no new foreign wars because our foreign adversaries understood in Donald Trump they had a tough man who did what he said and said what he would do, and he believed in strength and unpredictability as a deterrent. And then, post-Reagan, unfortunately, our party was hijacked by a Wall Street country club wing. They gave us endless foreign war. They gave us massive debt and spending, and they gave us the invasive Patriot Act. We then nominated a succession of weak candidates. I speak specifically of Mitt Romney, a man who begged Donald Trump for his endorsement to get into the U.S. Senate. And then, just as his father, George Romney, knifed Barry Goldwater in the back, he knifed our president in the back by voting for his impeachment. So to Mitt Romney, I say, Judas be gone. In 2017, Donald Trump came to the White House from the world of business. And he quite reasonably thought, well, there are two groups, the Republicans who are for me and the Democrats who are against me. He learned in his first term that there was a permanent political establishment and that many Republicans sought his removal and destruction from the moment he came down that golden escalator. And that is why today he is a much wiser president. It is why he will be an even greater president in his second term than he was in his first term. It is why he has given us appointees like Kash Patel to the FBI. It is why he has given us nominees like Pam Bondi to be Attorney General of the United States. It is why he has given us, yes, nominations of 4-term Democrat Congresswoman, Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, and true American patriot Tulsi Gabbard. It is why he has given us nominees like a man I've watched being kneecapped when he tried to run for president as a Democrat, where they used the same tactics against him that they used against Bernie Sanders, and then hamstrung by lawfare when he sought to seek the presidency as an independent, and who then came to realize that it was best to put his personal ambitions aside, and because he's opposed to war, and because he believes in free speech, and because he wants to make America healthy again and deal with the issue of child chronic disease, has joined into this great alignment. This is a new team of reform. But let's be clear, because we saw it this past week regarding the continuing resolution in the Congress pertaining to our financing. Our problem today are not the socialist, screwball, Marxist Democrats. Our problem today are the weak-kneed, gutless, feckless, lily-livered, white wine swilling, brie cheese eating establishment Republicans who have neither the guts nor the balls to fight for America. My friends, one man can make a difference. One person can make a difference. I point out to you today with us a man who had never been in politics. He was an entrepreneur, a businessman, concerned about creating jobs. But then he put a sign on the roof of his factory in New Amsterdam, New York, that said, "Vote for Trump." It was the largest sign in the United States to say so. And the Democrat mayor of Amsterdam, New York, sought to put him in jail for exercising his First Amendment right. He is now awake and in the fight. I refer to Anthony Constantino, who is now seeking the seat that will be vacated by Elise Stefanik, another one of President Donald Trump's greatest appointments. Anthony, stand up. My friends, the danger is not over. The deep state will not just ride off into the night. So I ask you in my final remarks here to do one thing, one important thing. Pray. Pray for the safety of our president. Pray for the safety of his family. Pray for the safety of those he has called on to serve him. I've experienced miracles in my own life. I've experienced multiple miracles after I was given an unconditional presidential pardon. My wife was diagnosed with aggressive stage 4 cancer, and I prayed to the Lord that she be saved. And I'm happy to tell you today, thanks to the healing power of Jesus Christ, she is 3.5 years cancer-free. It was Richard Nixon who said, "A man is not finished when he is defeated. He is only finished when he quits." My friends, he also said, "The greatness comes not when things go always good for you, but when you suffer some defeats, some setbacks, you take some knocks. Because only until one has been in the deepest valley can one appreciate the highest mountaintop." In the fight for freedom, in the fight for our Constitution, in the fight for our way of life, my friends, neither Donald Trump nor yours truly, Roger Stone, will ever quit in that fight. God bless you.